Hello everyone. In this presentation, I will be presenting my project for initiatives of UAE Sustainable Development and Finance Framework that integrating environmental, social and financial strategies for vision of UAE 2031 and net zero 2050. Here is the agenda of the presentation. This presentation outlines the UAE Sustainable Development and Finance Framework, a comprehensive approach that integrates sustainability, finance, and policy to achieve national climate goals. We start by introduction, then we'll talk about framework of finance, framework objectives and BH core principle, structure of the framework, development methodology, key assumption and parameters which we applied for calculation and financial analysis. We'll talk about and calculate the CAPEX, OPEX, NPV, IRR, MAC for the selected initiatives. Here also I selected 5 initiatives related to energy, water, waste, mobility and material. Then we'll go for modeling of those initiatives. We'll talk about and calculate MAC analysis, green bonds and loan, how we take the financial decision process, then integrating report framework, social benefits and cost, ESG and integrated report, SDG linkage. Then we'll talk about key finding and recommendation, and we'll see some appendix as well. As introduction, the UAE has placed sustainability at the core of the national agenda through their Vision 2031 and Net Zero 2050. Both frameworks aim to balance economic growth with environmental protection. They address challenges such as climate changes, water scarcity, and waste generation, while promoting low carbon infrastructure and sustainability. This commitment positions the UAE as regional leaders in climate action and resource efficiency. The UAE Sustainable Finance Framework is designed to encourage responsible investment and transparent reporting. It supports developers and investors by combining financial analysis with environmental and social impact assessment. It mandates sustainability integration across infrastructure and construction sector to align with the national goals. It bridges financial modeling, regulatory policy, and sustainability governance to ensure measurable outcomes for built environments. The key objectives of this framework are grounded in ESG and integrated reporting principles. It promotes socio-economic inclusion by creating local jobs, enhancing well-being, and supporting community development. It's required annual reporting of CO2 emission reductions, ensuring accountability and data transparency. Financial accountability is achieved through clear CAPEX, OPEX, and life cycle costing mechanism. Most important, sustainability initiatives are not option. They are mandatory standards for developers under the UAE framework. Framework structure and stakeholders. The framework is multi-layers, involving coordination among various stakeholders. At the policy level, entities such as DWA, BH, and municipalities establish national-wide mandates. At the financial level, the central bank and commercial banks manage green bonds and loans. At the project level, developers and contractors implementing sustainability initiatives. Finally, at the reporting level, corporates and auditors ensure compliance with ESG and integrated reporting standard, ensuring transparency and credibility for every stage. Here is the development methodology. The business case for each initiative is built more measurable financial and environmental performance. First, we calculate marginal abatement cost and social cost of carbon to monetize climate benefits. Second, we will use capital budgeting tools such as net present value, IRR, and payback period to determine financial visibility. Third, we quantify the benefits in three dimensions: financial savings, CO2 reduction, and the social gains. Last, baseline and the project scenarios are evaluating incremental capex and opex impacts. Key assumptions and parameters. To ensure constant modeling, several key assumptions were used. A 6.5% discount rate, which represents the UAE risk-free rates plus sustainability premium. Electricity price is 0.25 per kilowatt hours based on the DEWA tariffs, and water tariff is 4.2 per cubic meter based on the bi-municipality rates. The emission factor is zero point 0.4 kg CO2 per kilowatt hours, reflecting the national grid average. The social cost of carbon is valuated at 150 per ton of CO2, and the project timeline assumed around 10 years, aligned with the vision of 2031. Here is the 5 selected sustainability initiatives. Energy, rooftop solar PV system. Water, efficient fixture and fitting. Waste, green municipal soil waste treatment. Mobility, electric vehicle charging infrastructure. Materials, local material sourcing. These initiatives were selected for their strong alignment with the national sustainability goals and their measurement impact of emission reduction, economic returns, and community benefits. Here in the table below, we can see the linkage of those initiatives related of UN Sustainable Development Goals. For example, solar PV, it's linked with the clean energy, infrastructure, and climate mitigation. Water fixture, water efficiency, and sustainable urban living. A green MSW, circular economy and land protection. EV charging, low carbon mobility. Local materials, responsible consumption, and reduced transport emission. We'll start by energy initiative, rooftop solar PV systems. The solar PV initiative involves a 150 kilowatt rooftop system that generates 270,000 kilowatt hour per year. It reduced carbon emission by 108 tons annually and resulting saving 67,500 dirham. Payback period of this investment 5.4 years. IRR around 14.5%. This initiative shows highest cost effectiveness with the marginal abatement cost around 174 per ton of CO2. The capex is 375,000, annual OPEX 4,000 dirham. Water initiative, efficient fixture and fitting. This initiative focuses on the water saving technology, including low flow fixture and efficient fitting. It achieves annual saving 1,800 cubic meter of water and reducing emission by 8 tons of CO2 per year. The capex for this project 45,000 dirham, OPEX annually 1,000 dirham, and payback period 6.1 years. It demonstrates a good financial viability with IRR of 11.2% and net present value 12,500 dirham. Waste initiative. Green municipal solid waste treatment aims to process 2,000 tons of waste annually, diverting 18,000 tons from the landfill over a decade, that leading to annual financial return 180,000 dirham. It also avoids 3,600 tons of CO2 equivalent annually. Financially, it's offered 13.8% IRR, net present value 415,000 dirham, and payback period 6.8 years. The capex for this project so high, around 1.2 million. It provides strong long-term environment and social benefits including job creation and public health improvements. The OPEX it will be 100k, social benefit around 540,000 dirham. Here is the mobility initiative, electric vehicles charging infrastructure. This initiative installed 10 electrical vehicle chargers of 50 kilowatt each. It's required around 850,000 as a capex and 40k annually as OPEX, and generates social benefit 375,000. Annually, it reduced 250 tons of CO2 by replacing internal combustion vehicles. It achieves IRR by 12.6%, NBV 295,000, and payback period for this project 7.4 years. This aligns perfectly with the UAE electrification and low emission transport goals, and it gives MAC around 340 dirham per ton of CO2. Materials initiative, local material sourcing. Local material sourcing helps reduce carbon emission in construction and supports domestic suppliers. It costs around 60 tons of CO2 emission annually, saves 250,000 per year, and yields total social benefits 90,000. The capex for this project 150k. The initiative delivered IRR by 14.1%, net present value 80,000, and payback period 5.2 years. In comparative between those initiatives, we found solar PV is most cost efficient in CO2 abatement. A green MSW achieves highest emission reduction. Water fixtures offer the lowest implementation costs. Solar PV and local sourcing deliver the strongest financial return. Together, those initiatives completing each other, covering the cost efficiency to social and environmental value. From the perspective of marginal abatement cost curve analysis, the MAC analysis rank initiatives based on their cost per ton of CO2 abated. Solar PV and water fixture, they have the lowest MAC, means they have highest cost effective. Local material sourcing has moderate cost but high impact. Green MSW and EV charging requires largest capex but offering significant long-term benefits. This approach ensures the emission reduction is achieved efficiently. In this slide, as we mentioned before, this is the ranking of initiatives related of the CO2 reduction cost against the impact. Here is the green bonds in PH sustainable finance. Green bonds plays critical roles in financing for these initiatives. They are fixed income securities that raise funds for eligible green projects. They mobilize capital from municipalities, banks, and private developers. Transparency is ensured through the annual environmental report and third party verification. PH certified green projects ensuring integrity and alignment with the national sustainability goals. In addition to green bonds, green loans provided short term and flexible financing for similar initiatives. They reduce borrowing costs through interest rate discounts of 1 to 2% while enabling banks to expand ESG compliant portfolios. These loans also attract international investors. A partnership with UAE banks create risk-sharing guarantees, encouraging private participation in sustainability projects. Here is the financing model for initiatives. Each initiative is matched to financing model based on its scale and risk profile. For example, green bonds financing large capital projects such as solar PV and EV charging with a tenure up to 10 years. Green loans cover smaller projects like fixture and local sourcing for 5 years. Blending finance, which is combines grants and concessional loans supporting medium-scale initiatives like waste treatment. This diversified approach ensures financial flexibility and risk mitigation. Investment decisions are guided by standard capital budgeting tools such as MBV, IRR, and payback period. As we see here in the table below, all initiatives exceeding 10% IRR benchmark, confirming that both financial and sustainability is valid. Green financial instruments reduce the weighted average cost of capital through the preferring interest rate. And below the table here show the MBV for each initiative with the IRR as well. The ESG framework ensures that sustainability remains measurable and accountable. Environmental pillar covers CO2 abatement, water savings, and waste diversion. Social pillar measuring the employment generation and community engagement. Governance pillar ensuring the ethics, transparency, and third-party verification. All these pillars link directly to green financing eligibility and IRS. The integrated reporting framework aligns performance indicators with the vision of UAE. It sets clear metrics and targets, such as achieving 40% renewable energy by 2030. It embeds risk management for climate and financial exposure, and integrates governance oversight by BH and federal authorities. These structures ensure the sustainability outcomes are measurable, transparent, and aligned with the long national strategy. Social benefits and cost model. Beyond financial performance, these initiatives generate wide social benefits. They create employment opportunity during construction and operation. They improve public health through cleaning air and reducing pollution. They foster education and awareness on sustainability. And the total social benefits include 60 full-time jobs created and more than 1 million in the social value generated. By breaking down the benefits, a green MSW creates 25 jobs and contribute 450,000 in social value. Solar PV contributes 240,000 and 15 jobs. Works fixture added 70,000 and 5 jobs. Collectively, all 5 initiatives generate around 63 full-time jobs and improve community well-being through the cleaner air and active engagement program. In this slide, we link our selected initiatives with UN Sustainable Development Goals. These initiatives collectively address at least 10 of the 17 SDG, and the table below shows the linkage between the initiatives and goals. To conclude, the analysis confirms the economic, social, and environmental viability of all five initiatives. Collectively, they abate more than 5,000 tons of CO2 annually. Policy recommendations include mandate ESG and integrated reporting for all developers, expanding green bonds and loans to mobilize capital, continue supporting jobs creation and public health programs. The Sustainable Finance Framework successfully integrated financially, environmental, and social dimension to achieve UAE vision. Here we started by some appending slides provide the technical backbone of the analysis. They including for CAPEX, OPEX data as well as this slide. Next slide we are talking about the analysis of CO2, abatement of social benefit calculation as well. Here is the ESG and IR templates outline. National targets such as 40% renewable energy and 80% waste diversion by 2030. In this slide, we can see the diagram of sustainable finance framework structure starting by a policy level, financial level, projects level, and reporting level. Here the life cycle of cost analysis and a process, CAPEX, OPEX benefit, financial matrix, and purpose of the life cycle of cost analysis. In this chart, there is some information. It's important for investor to take a decision for investing in the finance and sustainable environment. So investment return and payback period, IRR, short payback period, all of these ratios, it's important for the decision maker to take their decision. In the final of this presentation, we can say this framework demonstrates that financial performance and environmental responsibility can go hand in hand through innovative financing, strong governance, and measurable sustainability outcome as per UAE vision. Thank you for all.